Hi, my name is Brenda Maas, and I oversee support services here at North Point Christian. And I would like to welcome you to our Building Belonging Through Friendship series of 2020. At North Point, when we interview new students, we always try to invite them into relationship from the word go by stressing to them that they come to serve as co-heirs of the gospel of Jesus Christ. They're invited to come and serve as part of an active, interdependent community. This week, you're going to hear from a number of our members. Part one today, you will be meeting mentors, students, teachers who are in strong relationships that they really value, sharing what they have learned from inclusion. Part two, on Thursday, when you're in your discipleship groups, you will be interacting around some questions from today, and also with regard to Thursday, a video where we'll be talking about pairs of friendships, sharing comments, quotes, scriptures to challenge you into deeper belonging in our relationships here at North Point Christian. So welcome. I hope you come with an open heart, ready to grow together.
Welcome to our 2020 Belonging and Friendships series. Today you will join with MPC students eager to share and learn about friendships.
All right, will you join me in prayer? Lord, thank you that you have led by example in making a way for us to walk in friendship and belonging with you by your work at the cross. We welcome you here to this chapel service and ask that we listen together, that you would teach us how to walk in friendship with one another as brothers and sisters in Christ. In Jesus' name, amen.
So all of these people are here because they have experienced unique friendships or have experienced inclusion in a unique and special way. And so we are here to ask them how inclusion has changed their life for the better. The scriptures say that your love has given me great joy and encouragement because you, brother, have refreshed the hearts of the Lord's people. Mrs. Minima and Mr. Shank, what have been the highs and lows of inclusion for you? What have been the moments that you'll never forget?
Well, we have certainly a lot of highs. We have some lows too. First, I'll start with the highs. In terms of Annika being our daughter, I mean, that's just a high right there. But we have specific details about things that Annika has achieved in her life that have been highs, such as pulling up on Delaney's electric dirt bike when she had been practicing and learning how to ride a two-wheeler for months. That was super cool. Taking a hike up a huge mountain, that's a big accomplishment for Annika. Trying to wake surf, never giving up, and finally being able to wake surf behind our boat, super cool accomplishment. Being included in a wedding, being a flower girl in a wedding, those are certainly highs in our life and in Annika's life. In terms of the bigger picture, the global picture, it's being a part of the greater community. It's given us opportunity to interact with and to know in a meaningful way people we maybe would not have taken the opportunity to get to know if Annika had not been a part of our life. And so we're very thankful for that. I can go into the lows, or
no, go ahead. Do your lows first, and then I'll
there we go.
Highs and lows.
The lows, obviously a little more challenging, a little more difficult. In terms of Annika being our daughter, there's really not too many lows. In fact, I think I'll have fewer gray hairs on my head because of her than I will any of my other children. But certainly there have been lows, and I think most of the lows come from missed opportunities. Missed opportunities on my part as a parent, on her part, because she doesn't mind being a wallflower. Missed opportunities for friendships with the general population, they not taking the opportunity to get to know Annika, or Annika taking the opportunity to get to know them. So I think that would be the biggest low that we have. We know that it's a biblical command to love your neighbor as yourself, and I think it's something we can all do better at. I know I personally can. And I think that having a true friendship takes time, it takes commitment, it takes effort. and it takes intentionality. And I think when you're working with people, trying to become friends with people who have different abilities, sometimes the intentionality and the time needs to come from the general population. And if you take that time, you will find that the relationships can be super meaningful. So we wish there had been opportunities throughout Annika's career where she would have approached more friends, or more friends would have approached her to invite her for play dates, to get invited to birthday parties, to go and enjoy a meal together, to see a movie together. On teachers' behalf, we think that there were missed opportunities to plan lesson plans that included people of all learning abilities within their lesson plans. On an administration level, we think there have been missed opportunities to hold teachers, to hold students, to hold parents accountable for including people of all abilities in their lives. I think it's my job as a parent to help all of you learn from our mistakes and learn how you can choose to include people of all abilities in your life and to seize those moments.
Mr. Shank?
Yeah, well, some of my highs, and I can remember a number of students that have come through, but one in particular made an impact on my life, and that was Will Gordon. And I remember the times that Will and I would kind of hang out together and talk, or I had him in class, or we'd come down here to the Point Coffee Shop and order the Gordinator and spend some time at the teacher discount. And I don't know if I'm supposed to mention that one or not, but yeah. Anyway, to spend some time with Will Gordon. Some of the other highs are coaching the unified team and getting to know the athletes and to see them succeed in basketball. That was a high point for me. For the lows is, I guess, the saying goodbyes. To say goodbye to Will Gordon as he graduated and moved on to his family business at the coffee shop there. And then also an early goodbye kind of to all the students when this pandemic hit, and was looking forward to perhaps more opportunities for unified sports in the spring that we weren't able to take advantage of. So those are some of my highs and some of my lows when it comes to the students here.
Awesome, thank you. So, Mrs. Minima and Leona, what has made inclusion so special to you or to your family? Go ahead, Mrs. Minima.
All right. Well, I think I mentioned it with some of our highs, is the opportunity to know people that we would not have otherwise maybe taken the time to get to know. Our lives have been enriched and greatly blessed by genuine, honest, true relationships and meaningful friendships. I think that the obvious one is that Annika's my daughter, and I think she's a pretty great kid. I think she models for us the fruits of the Spirit. She is joyful. She is patient beyond belief. She is forgiving. Genuine forgiveness is granted by Annika if you have done something egregious against her. She has a sweet and genuine disposition, and so I think I have learned more from Annika and from some of Annika's friends than I have learned anywhere else in life.
How about you, Leona?
I've just learned to accept people for who they are, and he's really changed my life. He's been an amazing friend.
You talking about Rylan? Yeah.
It's just cool to like see how he thinks every day. Like, it's really cool.
Yeah. Now, Mr. Dentler and then Haley, what have inclusive friendships taught you?
I think for me, probably that I have a lot more in common with people like Tanner and others that I've had contact with than I ever would have thought before I started being friends with them. So I think if you just take a little bit of time to be a friend, and you can find out that you really do have a lot more in common than what you don't have.
Right. Yeah. How about you?
I would just say that, like, for me, it's like what I've learned is that the best friends are like the honest ones and the consistent ones. And for me, one of my best friends is Maddie. And what she's taught me is that, like, you don't necessarily have to be friends with the people that are like the most popular or the people that you were expected to be friends with, that some of the best friends that I've ever had come from people that I wouldn't necessarily expect that like I would like link with or like have things in common with. But I've just had some of like the best experiences ever of just the best time laughing with Maddie, and she's just brought me so much joy through being her friend.
We also read in scripture that God will meet all of your needs according to the riches of his glory in Jesus Christ. So, Mr. Dentler and Mr. Shank, how do you feel that these friendships or relationships have changed or grown your walk with Christ?
I would say that the image mandate, comes to mind on that one, and it's been something that God has been using in my life. Started with my friends, and now I try to apply that to everyone, even people as I'm driving down the road and someone cuts me off or whatever, remembering that we are all made in the image of God, and that makes us special.
In reference to the unified sports especially, I think of two words, coachability and camaraderie. On the team, there was no sense of every person for themselves, but instead they understood that idea of one another and kind of pulling together as a team for success, and then glorifying the Lord Jesus Christ in that as well. So the impact that they've had on me and how coachable they were, and then the camaraderie as the team, the kind of esprit de corps, that spirit that ties us together, I think is the one thing that's impacted me.
Haley and Leona, what advice do you have for your fellow students in pursuing more inclusive or different, stronger friendships with people that we may not expect to make friends with?
I would just say that it's really important to think about the other person more than you think about yourself, because you never know what someone might be going through, and it's just really important to think about how everyone is different, and sometimes it can be more fun jumping into relationships that you wouldn't think you would like love, because those can be like the best ones you can get out of. And even though sometimes it is really hard to continue in a relationship that may not be like a standard normal relationship, like easy, where you don't have to put full effort into it, but where we can get our strength from that is our full support is from Jesus Christ. So if you're fully leaning into him and allowing him to give you the support to continue putting in that much effort into a relationship, I feel like those are the best and strongest relationships.
Thank you.
I think you need to see through their eyes. You never know what they could be going through, and some people just don't understand that, but it's really special to do that with Rylan.
Yeah, thank you. Well, thank you everybody for being here, for sharing your thoughts and your experiences. I hope that you all thank them with me in your classrooms. And I'm just so thankful that we got to spend this time together and hear all of these awesome stories. So thank you again, guys.
Hi everyone, my name is Audrey Campice, and if you don't already know me, I graduated from North Point this spring, and today I'm going to be talking about my brother. What's your name?
Ryan.
Yeah, this is Ryan. So my brother Ryan is 16 years old, and he has autism spectrum disorder, and I'm going to be talking about how that has impacted his life as well as my own life. So before I get started talking about my brother, I will just explain what autism is. Autism is a spectrum disorder. It's also referred to as ASD, autism spectrum disorder. And oftentimes people who have autism have challenges with their social skills, repetitive behaviors, speech, and nonverbal communication. But it varies between different people. Everyone who has autism has a totally different case. And there's not one type of autism, but varying subtypes. So people have different severity, and my brother has a pretty severe form of autism. And autism is very prevalent in the United States. 1 in 59 children are diagnosed with autism. So now on to my brother's story. From a young age, my parents could tell that my brother was a little bit different than other kids. but they didn't really know exactly what. But when he was 3 years old, they found out that he had autism spectrum disorder. And this has impacted our lives very significantly. My brother has been going to various different therapy centers for occupational therapy, speech therapy, and ABA therapy, which is applied behavior analysis therapy. And he gets special treatment at school as well as in-home therapy. My brother has some really great talents that he's super good at. He is amazing at puzzles. I've never met someone so good at puzzles. He loves to read, and he loves watching videos of domino building on YouTube. As much as I love my brother, there has been some struggles that come with having him as my brother. Sometimes I feel like no one understands what it's like to go through having a sibling with a disability. I've also been upset when I've heard classmates or just anyone use the word autistic or the R word, retarded, as an insult towards other people, because that is belittling someone like my brother. It's also really hard for my brother to tell us how he's feeling or why he's acting the way he does, and that has been really hard, just dealing with that as a family sometimes, and we've had struggles with that in his school and therapy centers as well. I have learned so much through having Ryan as my brother. He has truly shaped me into the young woman I am today, and I couldn't be more thankful. I love helping others, and that is a big passion of mine. And because my brother has received a lot of speech therapy through his life, I have decided to study to become a speech pathologist in college, and I am so excited to see where God takes me in that direction. I have also learned a lot about accepting others who are different than me, empathy for understanding what they're going through, and standing up for what I believe in. I believe that we should be inclusive in all environments and be friends with people who are different than us, because we can learn so much from them, and that's really what God desires for us to live like. I'm going to leave you with one final thought today. Ryan may have autism, but autism doesn't have Ryan. Ryan is so much more than a diagnosis. He has so many great qualities and talents that define him, and he was created by God to be on this earth for a purpose. And I just couldn't be more thankful to have him as my little brother. Thank you so much for listening to Ryan and I's story today. Bye!
Bye!